Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be breaking down. As my mic is not going there. Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. My name is Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be breaking down game number 44 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they lose this one 3-0 to the Vancouver Canucks. The third time this season being shut out. Before tonight here, I mean, this group had this unbelievable streak of not being shut out in games, finding ways to always get on the board. And this season, which we expected there was going to be some growing pains. We expected they were going to go towards this more defensive style of hockey where offense might be turned down a little bit, but we've now seen them get shut out 3 times this year, something it feels like we've not been used to over the past few seasons, just in general. And now all of a sudden this is happening frequently. And honestly, the most frustrating part about this loss here tonight that we'll dig more into, and we'll answer super chats, we'll answer a lot more questions and kind of talk about what you guys are going on about in the chat there, because I think a lot of the stuff you guys are bringing up actually has some truth to it. But the biggest point of frustration for me here is that we talk about how this team is different and how they've built themselves and headed themselves in a direction that is much more trustworthy and feels a lot more like, hey, you know what? This group has a new identity, a new life. Like, they don't go down the same way that they have in years past. And you watch this game here tonight after you just watched the one against the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's like, well, that's Keefe's Leafs. Like, that's the team we've watched for the past 3 seasons under Sheldon Keefe, and it feels like nothing is different. So we'll dig into all of that here on the show tonight. If you are watching, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. We'll do smalling salts. We'll answer questions from you guys. We'll get to the super chats, all of that. It is all a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION. Remember, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. As well here, we do have a new charity partner on the show. It is on Morning Take. It is right here on the Leafs Nation After Dark, and that would be Sick Kids. Very, very cool initiative. Proceeds from our super chats go to Sick Kids. You want to send a super chat there, find it in the live chat. You click that button. You send over the amount you'd like to by either typing it in or dragging it across the slider, and all super chats will be brought up here on the show today. Proceeds going to Sick Kids charity. Very, very cool initiative that we've got going on here as part of the show. Let's start with this. I know there's a super chat there, but let's start with this because we'll dig into some of the individual plays and individual things that happen here tonight. But I mean, the fact that 6 1/3 has come into this one in game 44, a person in the chat, who is usually very pointed and why are we getting mad when in games like this? It's not that big of a deal. Even 6 1/3 has come here and started off in the chat before I even kicked off the show. Grades of the game, F-. Typical letdown Leafy game. Honestly, an embarrassment of a game. Team needs a wake-up call, he adds in there as well. Or they add in there as well. I kind of just want to go off that point and get into my thoughts on it and where the major frustrations of this one come from. We just watched an embarrassing performance from this Leafs team tonight. And I think it's more frustrating than anything because what we just saw on Thursday night against Carolina, Rosie and I talked about on the show after, it was kind of hard to get overly mad or frustrated about some of the things that happen with this team. You know, you're watching these crazy poor defensive efforts in that game against Carolina where it was just falling asleep at the wheel, not paying attention to guys in the D zone, getting way too suckered in, not paying nearly enough attention to guys in dangerous scoring positions. And you kind of just tried to trade chances with the Canes. They got the goaltending, you didn't. I was watching that game. I'm like, okay, whatever. This one, it was comically bad. You know what I mean? We talked about it after, and it was to the point where I'm kind of saying I can't even get to a point of frustration about that game because it was just that doesn't happen and that won't happen again. That's a one-off. That's the main embodiment of won't happen again kind of game, burn the tape kind of game. And a lot of what I was looking for was, okay, how do they regroup and come back on Saturday? And I think a good important point here that gets brought up is producer Vic in the chat. They're allowed to lose. They're not allowed to play like that. And I think that's bang on, because the process of this game and the process of the way that they played and how they're playing, it's pathetic right now. And this is a long stretch for this group of them playing this way. Like, this is now building back in, where I'm looking at comments from you guys, whether it's during the live show, on the post game, if it's on like comments you guys are making on the pre-games, if it's coming back to the live shows after on social media, whatever. I'm getting tagged in all of these, and people have the same sentiment here, is that this last, I don't know, like maybe 8 to 10 games of this group, aside from the Boston game on the Saturday night, I think 2 weeks ago here now, aside from that game, this has been very much old Leafs. Like, this has looked and felt like the old Leafs. Tell me a moment here to... actually, that's bad because I got one. But, okay, outside of Nick Robertson going at Connor Garland when he jammed that Dennis Hildebee's glove, give me a moment. I'm serious, because if I'm wrong, I'm willing to admit this and read it out in the chat. Give me the moment tonight. You guys send them in the chat if you can think of them. Outside of Nick Robertson going at... was it Connor Garland? Yeah, it was Connor Garland in front. Outside of that, was there a moment tonight you said, wow, the Leafs showed some life on that play? There was some good shifts. Like, don't get me wrong, there were good shifts from especially the first line. There were a couple great ones from the third line where you were able to draw Vancouver down low. You were able to go to work on the cycle. Like, I look at the one that JT Miller ends up getting the high sticking penalty on, which, let's not get started on this goddamn power play here again tonight, but it sends the Leafs to the power play, and it starts with Matthews and Matthew Nyes being incredibly difficult to deal with below the goal line. You draw Vancouver in down deep. You work on a cycle game, you create a couple of chances, you kind of bring a couple of guys in there, and all of a sudden you're down in Vancouver's zone for a while, you wear them out, you get them tired. The second line comes out there, Nylander comes over the boards, he goes into the corner, and he draws a penalty. Like, that's good stuff. But that was so few and far between in this game tonight. This mostly felt like, I'm looking at the chat, since I asked you guys to send that, it's basically slowed down. And I can kind of agree with some of these things of what you guys are saying. Like, Cameron Huffman, Pacioretty had a solid hit, but nothing other than that. Yep. Our man beside Robertson, nobody stands up. Max Entius-Decimus, maybe a few good shifts in the first period, but that's it. Like, that's the same sentiment for me, you know? That's how this game was. And I think that the way I would characterize this one here tonight was, if you had to put one word on it, it would be lifeless. This is a lifeless game. A lifeless performance. And it's extra pathetic because, first of all, you come off of the game against Carolina where I was just praying and hoping, even in a loss here tonight to Vancouver, that your effort and the way that you played was going to be inspired. Like, if you lose a game and you are going balls to the wall, you are doing the right things, you are playing the right way, it is what it is. I can come on here with my head held high after a loss, talk about this team and be like, it's okay. You lost this game, but holy shit, did you give her? Holy shit, did you do the right things? I didn't. Like tonight, it's not that way. This felt uninspired. This felt like there was a lack of effort, a lack of engagement, a lack of drive. And to make matters worse, like, you know, earlier today, my girlfriend is watching something on TikTok and I hear it's like, oh, 43-year-old goaltender will come into the game. And I'm like, shut that shit off. Like, this is like one of those ones where it's like, that gives PTSD remembering for all Leafs fans, the David Ayres e-bug games and all that kind of garbage. And then it's like, these are the games where it's like this storyline of the other team having flight issues and getting in late and like the Leafs should throttle them. Vancouver's not been good recently. Blah, 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 blah. Leafs lay a fucking egg and they lose 3-0. Come on, man. This is Leafs of old. This is old Leafs shit going on here, and I don't get why this is now kind of poking its ugly head out. I mean, I guess if we want to go to the flip side of things and maybe where the positive could be, it's like, at least it's happening now in the middle, because we've seen previously where it's gone to a point where it's like, okay, you got through most of the season, and then at the very end, as you're going into playoffs, it's like, oh my God, we are stalling out. What's going wrong? And then that's where the panic comes. So maybe this gives them more time to A, turn this thing around and fix it. B, maybe this pushes the coaching staff, the GM, the upper management, the front office to go out and say, let's make a change of personnel and let's do something now, because there's some stuff going on here right now where it's just like, what the fuck is happening? And I think that this is, I think that this is one of those games where it's just like, it's just like a pathetic effort. I hope Berube kind of goes in there and tears the paint off the walls from this one, because it's a sad situation to just watch that kind of effort go down. Denver, I mean, it couldn't be more obvious this guy's just a troll. Denver says, this Leafs game wasn't even bad. Relax, Zack. You're being a bit of a baby. Be happy we're first. No. Like, Denver, I'm sure that the participation trophies on your wall, you go to sleep at night, give them a little kiss and say, thank you. I'm so glad I finished 81st out of 80th in that run I did the other day, in that little event that I did in the season tournament that we played. But, I think a lot of the rest of the people here who are watching the show, who are Leafs fans, are kind of fed up with some of that stuff and watching some of these habits creep in and getting to a point where it's like, we know that this kind of stuff is who they were previously, and this is the kind of thing that starts to make you worried, because when it gets to the most important time of the year, you know that they're going to come out and have trouble with some of these things, and it starts to give me concern that this group may not actually be different from previous, and makes me worried that when the going gets tough, they're just going to revert to Leafs of old, and they're not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to kind of dig themselves out of it, show some fight, show some life, and find a way to kind of turn a game around. That's what's concerning. That's what's concerning about this stuff. We'll dig into some more things here, but I want to make sure that I get to these and don't make people wait for too long. So let's do it here now. Let's get to some of our super chats. Max says, do we have to do the show? Can't we just take the night off? Thank you, Max, as well, for the super chat. Can't we just take the night off like the Leafs did? Yeah, they did take the night off. But he says, games like this is why I don't think we should trade at the deadline. Well, I would disagree with that. I think you have to be aware of what you've got in the group. And I think if you look around right now, you're kind of like, okay, I think Florida is still a dominant force. I think over on the west side, you're looking at Colorado, Vegas, Dallas. Those teams are going to be hell to run through. But if you get to a playoff series against the West, A, that means you're in the Stanley Cup Finals. And B, anything could happen in a series. I look at the East right now, and while I'm not trying to dismiss, Tampa, Boston, or like some of the other teams you could potentially run into in the Eastern Conference, I think one thing that kind of sticks out is like, none of these are easy paths, but if you go into a 7-game series, I feel like anybody could kind of come out of any of those, and I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like there's a decent amount of parity. So you cannot go into a trade deadline at this point in these guys' tenure and be like, oh, we're going to be passive on this one because we have concerns, and just kind of throw a season away and not worry about pushing for a cup. Like, Florida is a nightmare. Like, let's be honest, Florida's a nightmare, but if you catch lightning in a bottle, you could go on a run. I disagree with the point about why we don't think we should trade at a deadline. Actually, on the flip side of this, I would almost kind of push that you should start to see what options are out there earlier. Start making calls. If you can bring someone in sooner rather than a guy who's just going to come in at the deadline and be a rental, obviously those guys can make an impact, but if you could find someone to come in now and start to be a part of the fabric of this team, and they're not just some late addition, then I think that benefits you even more than where you've got from years past where it's like implementing 4 or 5 guys at the deadline. All of a sudden you're looking going, holy shit, this is a different team than we've had. Let's start to roll some of these guys out, get them into Chiefs system, kind of build some of this stuff up, and kind of get aggressive if you have to. I would rather start making some trades and calls now and getting some more time out of some of these guys than waiting till the last possible moment and getting it in under the wire at trade deadline. That's just my personal preference. I know it becomes a little bit more expensive because you're getting a guy for a whole lot longer who's a part of like the season for a lot longer. But yeah, Travis Freeman here with another super chat. Travis, thank you for the super chat there. Greatly appreciated as always. And remember, Sick Kids charity partner on the show. Proceeds going to Sick Kids. Incredible initiative that we've got going on. So make sure to, when you send those super chats, they are going to Sick Kids. Proceeds are going to Sick Kids. So thank you guys. Okay. Let me see. Travis says, trade Morgan Rielly. I wonder if Nashville would move Roman Josi. Need a real offensive defenseman. So, this is one of those things that's being thrown out in the chat there a ton tonight. I saw this on Twitter earlier, and I don't think that this is a new concept. This is something that's been discussed before in length. Is the idea of, is someone here a part of this core the DeMar DeRozan for the Maple Leafs? Is someone here on this team the guy that is part of the fabric, has been here for a while, is beloved in the room, is one of the stars, is beloved by the city, and they have to be the sacrificial lamb? The sacrifice has to be made on that guy where they get tossed into the volcano and out rises your Kawhi Leonard, who is your playoff MVP, and it's this guy who comes in and changes everything for you. Now, what I would say, first of all, the comments about Rielly for Josi. Yeah, like, I mean, I'd give an arm and a leg for Roman Josi. Like, let's be realist. Let's call it what it is. If I called Barry Trotz and I said, I'll give you Morgan Rielly for Roman Josi, and he said yes, I would say, thanks, send the facts to the NHL now, and I'd hang up, and then there'd be police at my door investigating a robbery. I would do that in a heartbeat. It's not really because I think that Morgan Rielly's not a good player. I think he is a good player. I don't want Morgan Rielly at the salary that he's making. I feel like he's lacking some of the I feel like he's lacking some of the areas that we kind of need from this defense right now. Like, they've gotten so much better as a group with OEL and Tanev and McCabe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Benoit's being better in there. Philippe Myers, I actually kind of have enjoyed the way he's played, but it's been tossed out. Rielly, Marner, could that guy be the DeRozan? It feels much more likely that the easier piece to move could be Morgan Rielly if that were the case. I don't think that Morgan Rielly, Roman Josi happens, but this goes to a different area here where I want to have kind of two conversations stemming off of this. Morgan Rielly has been AWOL for a little bit here now. He scored the goal on Sunday, which made people real mad at me because I've been having this conversation about the defense and Morgan Rielly just in particular. But I mean, I keep looking at it and it's hard because I feel like with Morgan Rielly, it's kind of one of two ways here, right? I love him. I think that he probably could have been captain here if you're taking that away from Tavares and giving it to someone else. Even when they gave it to Tavares, they probably could have given it to Rielly. But, I mean, I look at this, I'm like, there's a concern that, because we don't know what he's like in the room, that could tear apart the room. You know, you trade a guy like that, especially mid-season, he could be integral in the room. And I know people will say, well, man up, it's a business, whatever. We don't understand the fabric of that room and how important he is. So that is always a concern. The other side of it is something's got to change. Like something with this group just has to change. I don't know if it's going to be trading one of those guys or just adding another really important piece that can help fix everything. But yeah, like there's frustrations right now with the group, and Morgan Rielly's not playing up to his contract and coming in as the most expensive defenseman on this team. It's not ideal and makes him a much bigger target for the fan base and for people talking about the team on a daily basis. It does not make his life easier. It does not make navigating anything for him easier. So I don't know. Diz K, is the culture so perfect that you're scared to shake it up, Zach? They're 1-9 in playoff series. No, like it's not. I'm not scared to shake it up. My point is more so that, like, we're looking at this culture and saying like, oh, it's lacking something right now. I don't know if taking him out of that room tanks the culture, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying he's a guy who's been here for so long and has been through all of this shit, has seen so much of the ups and the downs, the positive, the negative, that you don't know if he's a guy who's like holding that group together and he's not the piece that actually has to go, if you get what I'm saying. So that's kind of more so my point. But anyways, the other thing here with this would be, okay, let's say you don't trade him, right? You need someone other than him on this power play right now. And I don't know what the fuck the way to get around this is, but something's got to change. I'm not going to do the power play whole deep dive here again tonight, because it's been like, we've done this way too much. The morning show is doing it. You know, every single show in Toronto right now that you listen to, tune into, is doing it. They're doing it during the panels. They're like, everybody is talking about the power play. I go out and my buddies are asking me about the power play because it's a goddamn nightmare. But I will say, like, just even surface level, we've gone through 10 billion coaches on the power play. It's always been this frustrating. At some point here, we might have to just pick out and say, hey, it's the personnel. I do kind of agree with Rosie's statement that the guy running it likely needs to change, or someone needs to come in here to help the guy running it, because this is like, we have seen bad power plays from this team. This is 44 games of bad power play. You got shut out here tonight, and I don't know that you win this game, because this is a sad, like Vic said, I'm sad. Like, this is a sad game. You saw him in the chat there. I feel sad after this one. Agreed. But the point is that what I look at more than anything right now is we've gone through stretches of bad power play. We've gone through periods of time, bad power play, playoffs, bad power play. Okay, obviously personnel in there, bad power play. Agree with that. I've never seen it for 44 games be this fucking shit. And quite honestly, like, I looked at it during the game because I was trying to figure out, I'm like, what is going on with this? Mark Savard with the Calgary Flames last year was 17.9% on the power play. 17.9%. And a point that Nick had made that is actually, like, standing out to me more and more every single night when I'm looking at this and watching, Calgary was pretty willing to part ways with him. Like, I think they signed a 2-year deal with Mark Savard or whatever. He was there for 1 year. Had a 17.9% success rate on the power play in Calgary. The Leafs came and were sniffing around on him, and they were like, yep, we're fine. Take him. You got it. Oh, you want him? You got him. He's yours. It's like, why was that so easy? What the hell just happened there? And next thing you know, we're having this atrocious power play here in Toronto. It's egregious at this point. It's a concern because it's not a bad stretch. It's not just a little lull. It's all season long. And people are giving shit about, like, oh, look at some of the numbers and whatever. They're 18th. Like, it's not that bad. You can climb the hill. Or, you know, the other day they were 1 for 2. Watch the power play. Don't tell me what the stats were after the game. Watch the power play. Watch how dangerous they were. Watch the chances that were created. And then, oh, by the way, count the amount of chances and opportunities created by the other team during the Leafs power play. And then come back to me and tell me that the power play was fine. and there's no reason to be worried about the power play. Because this is a game here tonight where, yes, it was sad, it was lifeless, it was pathetic. But guess what? You had 3 power plays. 3 power plays tonight. You went 0 for 3 on the power play. Okay, whatever. It happens in a game. But tell me this. How many of those 3 power plays did the Leafs get a shot on goal on? Yes, that's right. You heard the question correctly. 3 power plays. How many power plays did this Leafs team get a shot on goal on? 1. 1. You spent 4 minutes of time on ice with an extra attacker on the ice, and you failed to get a fucking shot on goal. That's pathetic. I don't care if it's the players. I don't care with the coach. Something has to change right now because that's atrocious. Like, that can't happen. That can't happen. 1 power play, you got shots on goal. And as our man points out, 2 shots on the 1 of the 3. Like, 6 minutes of time on ice with the extra attacker and you got 2 shots on goal. And it's like it wasn't particularly dangerous on those shots on goal either. That cannot happen. And I am going to cut it off there because it's killing me. Because I just, like, I can't do this. If it's a lull and we're going to come on the postgame show and talk about the power play and be frustrated with it, that's one thing. But to come on the postgame show and talk about the power play for 44 fucking games is, like, it's making me want to claw my eyes out at this point. I can't keep doing this. It's driving me nuts. I'm sure it's driving you guys nuts. Like, it's too much. It's far too much. And watch Vancouver here tonight. The amount of chances they got while we had the power play was gross. Gross. And it's not just here tonight against Vancouver. This has been all season long. That's got to change. I'm done on the power play. I'm out on that. Let's get to here now what you guys are at on... let's get where you guys are at in the chat. I'm going to answer this one quickly because you guys have a couple super chats, so I want to get to some of those. But the real Fud Rock, the real question, Zach, is of all the power plays, how many of them did the Leafs realize they were on the power play? Yeah. Ryan Wheatley, enough power play talk. Would you have pulled Hildeby at the end there or no? I think as Berube, let them sit in humility and get focused on the next game. So that was something I was going to mention here on the show tonight, and I wanted to point out as well. It's a good point. Ryan, I kind of had the same thought process as you. I was like, at first, like, whoa, why is there no goalie pull here? You know, you're down 3. I'm thinking at some point with like 4.5 minutes left, Berube might yank him early and kind of try to get something going. I think there was an element of like embarrassing these guys tonight by not pulling Hildeby and not going empty net, because think about what that says to the group. You're down. You've been pathetic all night. The effort was lacking. There was no life in the way you played. There was no energy. There's just nothing. It felt sleepy. The no pull on Hildeby, I think, sends a message to the team of, I don't even have faith in you tonight. And I'm not even going to give you the chance to go out there with an extra attacker and find a way to score a goal. Because if we pull the goalie and we go up a man here and you score, then you walk away, pat ourselves on the back. We had a shot. We pushed at the end. We made it close. We gave it a shot, good old college effort. I think Berube just kind of took that away and said, you're going to go 5-on-5. And if you can't score, well, that's on you. Because you didn't show up here all night. I'm not giving you the opportunity to show up with 4 minutes left in this game and even make this one a conversation. So bad that Blake Brim in the chat says, almost broke dry Jan after that dog shit. I couldn't even imagine. It was an infuriating game. That's a good point, though, on Hill to be Ryan. I agree with that. I kind of lean towards a similar situation. I think that's probably what happened is there's an element of embarrassing these guys. There's only so much that you can do and say to the group to try to make them wake up. Sometimes actions speak louder than words, and saying, I don't fucking believe in you guys tonight because you've been so out to lunch is certainly a way to do so by not pulling the goalie. I think that was a shot at the team there tonight. Let's get to some of these super chats. I'm reading the AI chat summary. This is a pretty good one tonight. AI chat summary from tonight's game. Viewers in the chat are highly critical of the Toronto Maple Leafs, calling them names and criticizing their play. Some are also calling for the team to trade some of its players. I think that's a pretty fair assessment of the chat here tonight. I think that's pretty fair. Okay, super chat here from Jeff McKay. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. This team has been ass. They don't look like anyone gives two shits about the game of hockey. Vancouver is the team that traveled today, and we lost. It's true. That also, like, credit to Nick for tweeting this out. It was the first thing that crossed my mind as well when I saw this go down. The Canucks have travel issues. Don't get in here to Toronto until late. They're de-icing the plane. They got to come in the morning of. Like, every single excuse in the book is going out there for the Canucks to lay an egg tonight. But I think every Leafs fan in the world in years past looks at this game and goes, travel issues for the Canucks? Got in late, didn't get a proper routine and food and warm-up, the Leafs will lose this one. But it was like, that's years past. And as Nick pointed out, Keefe's Leafs lose that game in the years past. Do the Berube Leafs lose this one? Well, we got our answer. Not only did they lose this one, but they didn't even show up. It's a sad, sad effort from this group tonight. Travis Freeman, a super chat here. Obviously not 1-for-1. Give Minton or Cowan. I don't care for Roman Josi. According to the super chat that he sent earlier. Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, if the deal is right, anybody can be on the table, right? Anybody can be on the table. If the deal is right and you think it helps your team and it's going to push you forward, especially if the player has some term, maybe a reasonable salary cap, or it can get bought down or eaten up a little bit via third parties. If you've got that, then anybody's on the table. Now, when I say that, guys, the point is not, I want to trade Cowan, I want to trade Minton. Like, that's not what I'm saying. The point is, if someone calls you and is willing to offer something substantial or worthwhile for those players, you cannot just hang up the phone. You gotta listen. Another super chat here. GMAC, thank you for the super chat. GMAC says, who's your ideal trade deadline target? Kreider would look so good here. GTG. Go Tunas go. Ideal trade deadline targets. That's interesting. See, the problem is, I wonder what New York's going to do. Kreider would look good here. I agree with that. And you know what else Kreider would look good on? The power play here in Toronto. Oh my God. Putting Chris Kreider into this power play, I think, gives them some signs of life. I think he's a guy who fits into your top six, and you don't have to rotate between McMahon and Pacioretty. You could throw him onto a wing there maybe, or fit him into a role like that. I think Chris Kreider would be a guy who definitely would look good here in Toronto. But I do think there's issues or difficulty with trying to acquire a guy like Chris Kreider from the Rangers, because I wonder if the Rangers maybe hike up their price, looking at the Leafs as another Eastern Conference team. So that's first and foremost. And the other would be, I don't think the Rangers are like out right now. I don't think they're just saying like, hey, we're done. This season's not going to work. I feel like they would like to get themselves kind of back on track and see if they can make a push and get themselves into the playoffs and not just kind of throw in the towel and give up. I think trading a guy like Kreider just throws a grenade into your locker room and says, okay, let's see what happens here, because you already did it with some trade rumors about them earlier. The only way I think he gets out is if it comes out publicly that he'd like to leave. And if it comes to that, then it's much different. But yeah, Kreider would be a good pickup for the team 100%. Another guy that I look at would be Yanni Gourde. I think Yanni Gourde would look really good here. I know that Vic was all horned up about the idea of getting Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson to me would be like, if you could get him for cheap and you could get contracts just absolutely eaten up and tucked away, then yeah, sure, I would do Brock Nelson. He's lower down on my priorities list. I would be looking at someone with maybe a little bit more cup playoff experience, someone who's maybe younger, someone with some fresher legs or some more speed. Like, I would rather some stuff like that and some bite, which would be like a Yanni Gourde. I feel like he would be a good pickup. Another guy that I think would sneaky be fun to acquire here would be, which is a name I hope starts getting thrown around a bit more, but it would be Chris Tanev's brother, Brandon Tanev. That guy to me is like a little firecracker. He is constantly in the mix. He's got speed. He's got energy. He's just like one of those guys you plug into your third line. And him and Bobby McMahon would be like Bash brothers. Like, those guys running around there together on the third line, I feel like would be an electric factory. You know, hard to play against, heavy on the forecheck, getting in on everything. I feel like a guy like Brandon Tanev would be a great addition. Brock Besser says Brock Besser would be fine. Brock Besser would be more so like a luxury to get. He's not like that's a game okay. Brock Besser would be a game changer because it makes your team a lot different, a lot better. But like, what are you gonna do with Brock Besser? Is he gonna play above Marner and Nylander on the first two lines? No. So then what? Like, what do you do with him? That, like, okay, is he going to go onto your third line? Are you going to try to play him as a left winger? I just don't know that that's a fit. I think he probably, I mean, holy shit. Think about this. We're talking about Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, Matthew Nyes, guys who are fitting onto your first power play. And I'm looking at fucking Brock Besser being like, you know what, that guy might be able to help your power play. You shouldn't need help. But that's kind of the final point that I would go to on it is a guy that if you could go and find a defenseman who's going to change your power play, it might be worth doing, because right now there is just less than nothing. Like opposing teams are getting more chances than you on the power play. That is less than nothing. It's not nothing going on. That's less than nothing. It's ugly. So I would for sure be looking at going, if there's guys out there that could add some help on your power play. Cup champ, 6'4" center Kevin Stenlund, Joshua Disatel says. Interesting suggestion to throw at 100%. I mean, but he's not going to add any offense. So, Garnet Hathaway, yeah. Give Robertson more ice time. Chad is on fire here tonight. GMAC and Blake Brim are not. Brian Rust, Blake Brim says there. Brian Rust. Yeah, that's a veteran guy. Okay, let me also say this. The other thing that I would look at doing and was making my mind like ready to explode here tonight was, I've said it before, Connor Dewar is starting to make a difference to me and like make me change my opinion on him just about who he is and his identity. David Kampf and Pontus Holmberg cannot and will not just change anything that I look at them here. David Kampf is who he is. He brings no offense. I think he's a good defensive player, but like, I think that the team is much better defensively now. So is the need for a guy who's a defense first, defense only player, is it that high? Is it that important anymore? Like, do we need that so much? Because look at our forwards, like Matthews, Marner, those guys are really defensively responsible. You know, look at Bobby McMinn. He makes an impact in the defensive zone. Dewar, this guy can do it. You know, do you need all three of those guys? I look at Holmberg, I look at David Kampf, and I look at Dewar. They kind of all fit into the same conversation with me. I would much rather get someone different into that spot. Like, I saw even thrown out there Ryan Lomberg. I don't think Ryan Lomberg is the guy you go and get, but that kind of idea of a guy who is a complete shit disturber to play on your fourth line, a guy to go in there and stir the pot and bring some different identity where he's got enough legs, unlike Reeves, to be able to keep up with the play, maybe to drive some play, has like the slightest inkling of offensive ability, because even having a marginal amount is more than what David Kampf and Pontus Holmberg can bring you right now. Like, credit to Connor Dewar, it feels like he's at least finding something in his game right now, and I'm kind of intrigued at where he could go with this, but I don't think he can be like a line of him, Kampf, and Holmberg, or combinations of that go out there anymore. It just doesn't work for me. It's all too similar, and that line needs some more variety. Look at the way the top six is now built. You get Pacioretty, you get Matthew Nyes into there, and it makes Bobby McMahon, it makes the identity of those groups a little bit different. The fourth line is it's too vanilla for me. It's too vanilla right now. Like, I look at Steven Lorentz, a guy who's a little bit more defensively sound and defensively responsible. He's a physical presence. Okay, now you've got your defensive guy. Find some other guys who can help him and complement him, and maybe Connor Dewar there to change the way that fourth line looks. Another super chat. Okay, another super chat here, Travis Freeman. Travis pointing out, just kind of in reference to the other super chat that he sent, just need some offense from the back end is all I'm getting at. I agree. You do need some more contribution offensively. I think that should be in-house. I think that it should be a guy like Morgan Rielly who's stepping up, considering that he makes, $7.5 million and he's supposed to be this offensive player. I think that he should be much more involved in the offense and should be generating a whole lot more for you. But I mean, at this point, he's not. And I think that's an issue. I really think that's an issue. Morgan Rielly, think about Morgan Rielly jumping in the play and being an offensive threat here tonight for this Leafs team, or even over the last 10 games. We probably aren't having even close to the conversation of we need more from the defense, because one guy can change that drastically. And I look at the defense and how they kind of have made some impacts with Tanev, Ekman-Larsson, and McCabe, and how they've altered the outlook of that, the team structure defensively and how comfortable I feel. I think that there's a lot more that we could be asking for from Morgan Rielly, because he's kind of just, at first he got himself into like a quiet spot where we just didn't notice him, and we were like, wow, look at these shiny new toys. Look how amazing Tanev and Ekman-Larsson were. And now all of a sudden, now that we're used to them and we appreciate what Tanev and OEL do, we're starting to turn our heads and look at Rielly and go, well, what the fuck do you do? If those guys are so good defensively and we're lacking offense here, we're not going to sacrifice what they bring defensively. You're the offensive guy. And why are you not playing offensively? He needs to be a lot better. And it's not just the offensive game. There is some serious holes, and part of it is a problem because I look at the shuffling of defense in the partners. Every time I look at who he's playing with, unless he's playing with a guy who's better than him defensively, I have concerns for the pairing. I really do. And that's not a good thing when you're the most expensive defenseman on the team. It's not good. People are really mad with Mark Savard, including Blake Brim in the chat there. What do we got? What do we got for tonight? Well, actually, you know what? As we've been talking about trading Morgan Rielly to Nashville for Roman Josi, you want to go to Nashville? You can go with the Leafs Nation on the Nation Vacation. This is not going to play. That's good. I'd throw that animation up there. It just starts and just won't go. March 20th to 23rd, this is not your average trip. This is the Nation Vacation, and we're taking it to Music City, packing our jerseys and heading to Nashville. Myself, Rosie, producer Vic, and the legend himself, Nick Alberga, will be joining. We'll be down there in Nashville. Hopefully you guys are joining us. Carter Hutton out there as well. Love and Exile Bar we will be hitting up, and heading to a Leafs Predators game in Nashville. Live shows, events, meeting with all of you guys, all that kind of stuff and more, whether you're looking for flight packages or non-flight packages, we've got all of it. So make sure to head on over to nationgear.ca and get your tickets to join the boys down in Nashville while they last, as there are limited spots available. Okay, let's continue on with what we've got for the show. 6 1/3, will they get shut out in Nashville, Zach? Well, I hope not. That would be pretty sad. Not gonna lie to you. That would be pretty sad to go down there and see. We've got about 200 people watching the show here tonight, and we are short of our 50 likes. There's no need for that. That's about a quarter of the people watching have hit the like button. Hit the like button while you're watching. Subscribe here to the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube, whether it's Leafs Nation pre-games, which actually I didn't do today. So when we talk about best bets, we'll talk about some other stuff, but we didn't get into a best bet because Alberga, for those of you who are subscribed, you would have seen Alberga did a pregame video with the boys over on Canucks Nation, Canucks Army there. David Quadrelli, Quads, as Nick said. They did that. It came out earlier today on the channel. So none from me today. It was like the first game day where I didn't have a video going out. It felt weird. I was kept looking and being like, where, like, what, I got to do a video. And then like, no, I don't. But regardless, thank you to those of you guys who liked the stream here. We did hit 50. Let's do this here. And then there's more questions. Michael Kirkpatrick, grilled cheese sandwiches provided free in Nashville. I have to ask Hutz about that. Maybe he'll be providing them. 50 likes on the stream. Thank you guys. If we hit 100 here before we close out and there's still 200 people watching, then we will do Smelling Salts again. So thanks for watching. Keep hitting that like button. Keep subscribing. Here we go. Oh. Joshua says, Zach, you've gone longer than some other guys on another show. That's how we do it here on the Leafs Nation After Dark. That is how we do it. What do we got? Let's see. Let's run through the chat. You guys are firing on all cylinders tonight. There's a lot that I could say about this group, and I think we did kind of get to and have continued to talk about, but you guys are kind of on fire right now. So let's see. There was a question about my thoughts on Dennis Hildeby. I think that was from the same guy who was pissed off the other day about Joseph Wall. Diz K, those smelling salts are getting stale, Zach, just like this Leafs team. Credit where it's due. It's a funny comment, Diz. Thank you. I'll get some new ones. We'll amp them up. My thoughts on Dennis Hildeby. I think it was like David something. He was pissed. Pissed at Joseph Wall the other day, snapping on me and Rosie for not blaming Joseph Wall. What do we got? My thoughts on Dennis Hildeby. I would like our goaltenders to be healthy, is my thoughts on Dennis Hildeby. I like Hildeby. I think he will be a good goaltender. I think he will likely be an NHL goaltender. He's big. He's pretty calm. He doesn't get too high or too low. Seems to handle... he seems to be able to handle kind of the emotional fluctuations of a game. My concern with him is just it's too early. Also, like, Matt Murray was a good story. But this Leafs team very clearly does not have any trust in him. They don't want him here. He played, 2 games, 3 games, and we haven't seen him since. We haven't heard from him. We all saw it. We all said it when we were talking about it. He looked shaky. He looked slow. He still didn't have his glove hand available to him for some reason. I think he left it in Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup. And since he left Pittsburgh, he just kind of hasn't been the same. We also have to remember he was a tandem goaltender in those. Now where we're looking with Matt Murray is this probably the end. They've got Dennis Hildeby up here. You're choosing him over Matt Murray for a reason. Like you're flat out just deciding we do not want and cannot have Matt Murray, which is somewhat of a cause for concern. Like, I'm not smashing panic button, but goalies can take a long time to mature. It's rare that a goalie jumps in at a young age and just immediately is a top-notch goalie. Like, I'm not really panicked about what Hildeby could or will be. I just don't think he's got it in him right now, and there's a lot of shakiness to his play. He's not the reason for the loss here tonight at all. I want to make sure that's kind of out there and known as I'm talking about him tonight. But there were some shaky moments. There is some shaky stuff that happens. And it's more so, handling rebounds or how he takes shots. And I think just as he gets older, more used to the NHL style of play, as he gets more used to a North American style of play, those things will continue to improve. Like, just continuing to push on that, I think that he'll get more used to it and he'll be better. I think, as Marquise Manon says, will be a great goalie. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I just look at him right now and think that the way this Leafs team is playing in front of him too defensively over the last 10 games, it's really going to, it's not going to help where he's at. It's just not going to help him because he's too young, he's too fresh, and he's still trying to learn a lot of stuff, and he's kind of getting thrown to the wolves. This game tonight, for him to walk away having only given up 3 goals, I mean, kudos to him because, honestly, the team was shit in front of him. They were really not good here tonight. Finishes the game with an .889 save percentage. They gave up some good chances, though. Let's call it what it is, and having to kind of be sharp on some of that, good for Hildeby. He just needs some experience. I think he looks shaky, but ultimately, I'm not also panicked because you have Woll, you have Stolars, and they've been unbelievable all season long. Other than the game against Carolina the other night where Joseph Woll wasn't that good, your goaltending has been awesome and has probably won you games that you shouldn't have won. Dennis Hildeby, not going to steal you games at this point, I don't think. I think it'll get there, but not right now. I think he's a little bit fresh, and I think there's more that he'll be able to kind of develop on and become a better player, more well-rounded goaltender who can kind of handle some of this stuff with more ease. What else do we got here on the docket tonight that you guys have thrown out? I'm trying to read the chat and see if there's any comments. Trade for Cam Fowler won't happen. He just got traded to St. Louis. Torpachenko and McCarron would be a doozy pickup. Brad Tonchich, I think that's how you say that. Join late here. Did Zack talk about the wild Marner quote yet? No. What is the Marner quote? Where is the Marner quote? Oh. I can only assume this is the one. I gotta think this is the one. I'm trying to find if there's anything else. Okay, Marner on the Leafs effort level tonight. I liked it. I thought we played well. I really did. The last couple of games, we've been giving up plays to teams that aren't missing on them. This cannot be real. It is real. But, oh my God. To say this after that game is a serious lack of accountability. Are you kidding me? This game of, like, the issue is Toronto is, like, people give Leafs fans a tough rap for being hard on the team and like, oh, this is why everyone's all soft and shit when it comes to all this. This is why no one wants to play there. No, Leafs fans are smart for the most part. There's some not so smart ones, like, you know, people whose names have like high altitude cities in them there, but like for the most part, Leafs fans know what's going on. And I mean, like, I took so long to get through that quote because, like, I cannot, well, like, at first I was like, I'm reading this wrong, but, like, Billy T is bang on, and I'm trying to think about how I want to say this, but Billy T says, to be honest, Marner should have said we sucked sewer water tonight. This is so... See, the thing is, like, I am assuming there's an aspect to him here tonight where he's saying this because he's not trying to, like, sewer the team and throw them under the bus. But people in Toronto know. People in Toronto know how you played. They get hockey. There are so many Leafs fans who played hockey at high levels. Think about how many guys are pro players or went overseas and watched or are in ECHL and AHL leagues. Like, I have buddies playing in those who are watching this show, watching these shows, watching and following the Leafs every night, texting about what's going on. They're all seeing and feeling the same shit that we are as fans. And then he goes and isolates the fan base and says, like, oh, they're out to get us. It's like, no, dude. People who actually know what the fuck is going on also feel these ways about it as well. And it's just like, if he came out in the postgame and said, we were not good tonight, this was a bad effort, we were not good, we gave up bad chances, no one in Toronto is going to be mad because you know what? We're all thinking it. We're all thinking the same thing. This is an out of touch comment to say that. And honestly, like, this dude needs like some PR training or just to be never allowed to speak to the media again. Because it's just like, even if I don't think he believes that. I don't think he believes that. I think he's just saying that to the media because he thinks it's the right thing, but it's the wrong thing to say. It's 100% the wrong thing to say. It's not even close. You fucking sucked tonight. You fucking sucked. Like, you were a bad hockey team tonight. That's why you got shut out by Vancouver, and full marks to Vancouver. Like, they played great, but you were not in this game. Yet you had nothing really going for you. It was a lifeless, pathetic effort, and we all knew what was going on. Like, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. That's so stupid to say. I mean, honestly, Brad there also says, and El Hacker also saying, and this is where it's frustrating, okay? Think about this. Mitch Marner went in front of the media and said this. Let me read this quote again. Shit, it's gone. How did that get off my screen? Mitch Marner goes in front of the media and he says this, okay? Marner on the Leafs. I liked it. I thought we played well. I really did. The last couple of games, we've been giving up plays to teams that aren't missing. I liked it. I thought we played really well. I did. Tanev. Chris Tanev. Not good enough. They outworked us, outcompeted us. That's why they won. Well, which fucking one is it? Which one is it? You're on the same team. You're on the same team. How can one guy say we got outworked, that we were not good enough, they wanted it more than us, that's why they won, and another guy on the team goes out there and says the exact opposite. I liked our effort level. We were pretty good tonight. What the fuck are you talking? Like, you cannot say that. Tanev said the truth about this game. I'm going to wait until I see the quotes from Berube, because I'm sure he's going to say the same shit about like what Tanev said. But oh my God, can we not get to a point here where we realize how pathetic that is to be saying that? Like we're that's so out of touch. This guy grew up in this fan base. He's been here for what, 9 years here now? How is he not understanding this? I'm not even going to go like, this guy's been actually really good this year, so credit to him for level of play. I don't think he was good tonight. It is what it is. It's one game. You got to be, well, 2 games now because they were shit against Carolina the other day. But honestly, man, it's quotes like this where it's like, this is why people get mad at you. This is why people shit on you. And if no one else on the Leafs came out here tonight, it's already bad enough. For Chris Tanev to say immediately after you just did that he thinks you got outworked, outperformed, and they wanted it more is an utter embarrassment. Like, either you're delusional for thinking that that's the case and thinking that this is actually real, that like, oh, we played really well, blah, 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 and he has no idea, or he's just lying to the fan base. And either way, it's a problem. Like, I don't know, man. Just like stop letting him talk, because he just says all this shit where it's just like he says the wrong thing constantly and it pisses people off and it makes him more of a target. But the thing that's frustrating is that he says the wrong shit. He says stupid shit in the media and he gets mad that people are out to get him. It's like, no, dude, you just said dumb things that we all see through. We all see through that stuff. You know, when he said the quote about people treat us like gods here, people look at us like gods here, that's one thing. That's one thing for him to go out and say that. That's great. He's not wrong. It's the timing. You said it in your exit interview on locker cleanout day. People are furious at you. Furious. You just fucked off in the playoffs yet again. People are pissed. You can't say that then. Say it at a charity event in the summer. No one's going to be mad at you. Say it when you're putting up a ton of points in the regular season. No one's going to fucking care, because you're right, dude. You're right. Like, it's just, why say it in your exit interview? Like, that's the stupidest thing you could do. This game here tonight, everyone in the world who knows a single thing about hockey watched this game tonight and thought, this team was not very good. They got outworked. They got out-hustled. They did some dumb shit. They gave Vancouver too many opportunities. And then you fucking go out in the post-game show or the post-game press conference right after and you say, I think we were really good tonight, effort-wise. Are you kidding me? And then to be followed by Chris Tanev, a guy that we as a fan base adore because of how endearing he is to us, of this hustle and of this, you know, gritty style, blue collar style of hockey, a guy who's been around the NHL, a guy who's seen playoff runs and is a guy who's hunted after by teams at the deadline, because that's a guy you got to bring into your team, a guy that we as Leafs fans were desperate for last season to go out in the media after, a guy that you know understands the game on a baseline level, like I'm eating pills, doing everything. Like, saying shit like that is just, he comes out right after, and I don't know, like, it's a complete opposite of what Marner just said, and that's pretty terrible, and he's gonna get fucking ripped on for this, and it's just like, you can't say that, dude. I don't care if you actually believe it, or if it's just lying to the fan base because you just don't want to dig into it. You cannot say that. You can't say that, man. It puts you in such a bad spot. No shit, people are going to be mad at you. Just an immediate reaction to reading those comments, and it's some of the same stuff I'm sure you guys are seeing, feeling, thinking as well. That's insane. That's insane. We watched the game, like Ryan there, every Leafs fan. We watched, we saw, we're pissed. Yeah, people are not happy with your effort. No one's mad at you. Like, people will actually walk away from that comment by Tanev more comfortable knowing that the guys in the room were pissed, or knowing that the guys in the room know it wasn't good enough. You know, that's something that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, Chris Tanev came out and was like, if I never saw the Marner comment, right? Okay, they know that game stunk. They know it. They know it in the room. They're talking about it. They've addressed it. It's all good. You know, it's a problem. For him to say that, fucking insane. You can't say that shit, man. Like, that's what makes Leafs fans like lose their minds. Me too, as well. L Hacker, listen to everything Marner said, all caps there. What else did he say? What else did he say? Like, where is the context to this? Like, how could that have been any better? How could it have been any better? It was a convincing loss. You got spanked by the Canucks here tonight. How is there a way to get around that? Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be hearing from Marner's team about this, because like they seem to have skin as soft as his and will be reaching out, freaking out, and then welcome it. Well, I welcome it, because they won't reach out to anybody else that has maybe more of a following than I have. But they got no problem going at you on social media if you're just starting out. They got no issue with some of that stuff, because we got to control the narrative about 16 here. Fuck off. Super chat here. Brad Tonchich, thank you, Brad, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Remember, proceeds going to sick kids. As I just come off this rant, losing my mind. Proceeds going to sick kids, going to an amazing cause here. So, yeah, continue to send those super chats in. We do appreciate it here on the channel. It's going to great cause, a great charity partner here of the show this season. Also, quickly, Armin says, Zach, you're more furious than Chief in the post-game interview. Honestly, I wasn't even. I'm not like furious at this game. I'm furious. What I am furious with is that Marner comment. That's fucking insane. Yeah, that's unacceptable. You can't say that. And like, this is a guy that I haven't really been mad at this year, quite honestly. I haven't. That comment tonight is out of touch. Super chat from Brad Tonchich. Hopefully I said your name right, Brad. We really appreciate the super chat. Brad says, massive fan of TLN, Leafs Nation, and especially this post-game show. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. One of the only outlets that keeps it real in this city. Thank you, Zach. P.S. You should read Matthew's quote on the power play. Oh, Brad, you're just wind it up, and get me going. Hey, thanks. Let me go read that quote now. Oh, no. Okay, I'll go check it. 1 second. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the love. I appreciate all of you guys who watch the show. Continue to subscribe here to the channel. Continue to show love and support and appreciation. I mean, I literally have a dream job, and it's because of you guys in the chat and all the engagement you guys give and how you continue to show up to the show. Like, I never for a moment and taking for granted how awesome the chat is every single night, especially whether it's on pregame, if it's when I do morning take stuff, or if it's here on the After Dark. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat there, Brad. Again, appreciate that. Let's read the Matthews power play quotes. Also, Berube comments. Let me read those as well here. But let's start with the power play one, because Brad did bring that. Say that. Matthews on the power play. We just have to get more pucks to the net. A lot of movement, kind of a lot of nothing going on, I guess. I just think we can do a better job of simplifying it. See, that's honest. Like, that's at least truthful, right? Like, that makes. I mean, I thought, see, when I saw the comments about go read Matthew's comments on the power play, I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking lose my mind, aren't I? He's going to say the power play was great. He didn't. So, I can at least accept that. I can handle that. He's not wrong. That's pretty much what I and you guys in the chat have been saying. So, yeah. I'll accept that. I mean, I got no issue with that comment by him. It's the right track. It's the right track. Let me just quickly do the Berube comment, and then we'll get out of here with play of the game, grade of the game, and our Bet365 segment. Let's go first to Berube comment. Shocking, hey? I didn't think we had enough pace in the game or played with enough energy. Oh! Maybe it's travel or whatever. We need more life and energy, you know? I didn't think we had that tonight. Oh! That sounds kind of different than what I heard from number 16, no? That's different comments than the ones he made. I think he said on the Leafs' effort level tonight, I liked it. Oh! Here's the coach of the team. I didn't think we had enough pace in the game or played with enough energy. We need more life and energy. I didn't think we had it. Here's Tanev. Not good enough. They outworked us, outcompeted us. That's why they won. Oh! Let's go back to 16's comments. Here's his thoughts on the effort level tonight. I liked it. Seems kind of like a disconnect there. Like something's different. Something's off with these guys. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what it would be, but what the fuck? All right. That's absurd. Jesus. Let's get to our play of the game. Play of the game. I can't believe I just read those quotes. Oh my god. Brad. Come on, man. Why'd you make me read that? Oh my god. Play of the game. What do I even want to give the play of the game to, man? Send your play of the game in the chat. I want to know what you guys think. Play of the game, pregame skate. Max Entius, no play of the game. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of where I'm at. Also, Mario Villela said, Zach, can you say my name on the show? There you go, Mario. I mean, what do I got as play of the game? Oh, you know what I'd give as the play of the game? First, final buzzer, none. Yeah. Literally none. 0. None, Zack, Robert says. You know what? just like Berube did to shame this team and not pull Dennis Hildeby and not go empty net, I'm going to shame the team with no play of the game. The first ever play of the game, no play of the game here on Leafs Nation After Dark. You guys in the chat gave this opportunity to me. You guys seem to be on board with it. So, yeah, no play of the game. As the cops are ripping around outside here now, it seems like. So, what a night. What a game. No play of the game. First ever. Let's get to our best bet segment. And for me, I mean, I don't even know what I let's be honest here. We also didn't do a pregame show. I can talk about what I bet personally, but no, play of the game is a Marner interview. Let's get to our best bet segment. Our Last call, presented by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation after dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Shout out to Bet365 for sponsoring the segment. I did not have a best bet today. This is the first one I can say we just did not lose. This is the first time in 8 games that we did not lose the best bet segment. Obviously, it's because we didn't give out one, but we'll keep that on the down low. But we should have had some type of like shutout for it. This should have been the second we saw that there was travel issues for the Canucks, hammering Canucks -1.5, hammering Canucks money line, because the last 8 games this team has been trending back in the direction of Leafs of old, and that's how they played here tonight. Like, that's what it was, ladies and gentlemen, Leafs of old. And the second they got off, Canucks got off this plane late, it should have been Vancouver every way possible. What a mistake that was. But that's our best bet segment. I mean, looking forward, what's next game? You got Sunday, Monday off. You play Tuesday night. Who do you play on Tuesday? This season has been a blur. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. The Stars. Oh, good. That's a team that should be pretty easy to get yourselves out of and snap this streak. Jesus. Dallas Stars coming up on Tuesday. That's a concern for me. But, I mean, you win on Tuesday, and all of a sudden everyone in the world forgets about what just happened. Well, let's do this here now. That's our best bet segment by Bet365. I might be looking at Dallas, honestly, on Tuesday. We'll see. I don't know if this group's got any bite left in them. But the other thing I might be looking at is something to do with Marner, like Marner goals or something, because you know that he's going to be like, everyone in Toronto hates me. We got to get it back on track here. And then he's going to score a goal, and it's going to be in Toronto. He's going to flip off the fan base, scores a goal at home. He turns around, I can't hear you, to the fans. He's going to give it to them. You guys hate me. Whatever. Drop your grades in the chat. I know what mine is, but I'm going to do this quickly for our guy Mario Kart there, who asked for it here tonight. What's the deserve to win a meter? It's like 50%. It's like even on this one. That's just strictly based on the expected goals in the game tonight. I don't think that's indicative of what went on here. It's really like Pacioretty and Tavares had some good chances, and that's kind of it. Drop your grade of the game. F. 6 1/3. Said it before I got on. Before I started the show. It's an F. F tonight. F. Unknown. I will never trust that meter again. Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? Like 50% on the night tonight, when you can clearly tell this is just a game you were outworked in. It's just based on expected goals is really what it was. But F. There's no way around it. Lack effort, lack interest. I don't know, man. You guys are giving me an A+ for the show here tonight. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed the show here. I think for the most part this season we haven't really gone off the rails, and I wasn't even like snapping on the game here tonight. This is a pretty pathetic effort, and I think we all knew that. When Brad made me read the Marner comments, that almost sent me. I'm not kidding you guys, like the worst broadcasting of all time for 2 consecutive minutes there, because I quite literally was just staring at the comments and just like got lost in the fact that I was doing a show still, and was reading the comments like being like, that can't be real. Like, that can't be real. And I read it, and I looked, and I'm like, I can't believe this. I read it again. Like, Brad sent me off just into outer space. So, oh man, really, Moody? Did you read Riley's comments? No, let's do this. Why not, right? Also, by the way, Elias Pettersson was a fucking beast tonight, especially defensively. I don't see any Riley comments. What do I got? I don't see anything for Riley comments. Has anybody got any Riley comments? I don't see anything. Come on. I don't know. I don't see anything. Hey, I don't got any comments. Sorry, that was just also quiet audio for yeah. Brad says we have things drawn up that we'd like to execute, and it just feels like we're not able to. Feels like we're just a bit disconnected. I mean, that's the easy way of doing it. Diane says I will talk about Riley if you sniff smelling salts. No, got to get out of here. I think that's going to do it for me on the show tonight. This has been a long one, longer than anticipated for that game. Morgan Riley, disconnected is right. That's certainly a way to put it. Thank you to everyone who watched the show, liked the stream, subscribed to the channel. Appreciate it as always. That's going to do it for us here on the post-game show. F's the grade, and for the first time ever, there was no play of the game. The play of the game was no play of the game. And that's not for a lack of trying to find one, ladies and gentlemen. That's because there was none. Thank you for an unbelievable chat here tonight. These guys were fired up. You guys were awesome. The comments, the questions, everything. The super chats that came in. We had about $50 in super chats. Remember, proceeds going to sick kids. That is awesome. Diz K, Zack put in more effort in this postgame than Leafs did in 60 minutes. Maxentius with another amazing comment earlier saying, when Zack asked us for the postgame, for the grades of the game, we should all just not send anything because that's the way the Leafs showed up tonight. They didn't. You guys were unbelievable. This was a great chat tonight. A great stream. Thank you guys. I don't know if that was that great. I mean, I just come on here and spew nonsense for 80 minutes here tonight solo. But thanks to all of you guys in the chat. I appreciate you showing up here every single night. All of you that you guys do, all the support. That's going to do it for us. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back on Tuesday following the game against the Dallas Stars. Please don't tell me it's at 7. That's good. Okay, 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. Hopefully a different mood, because if they play, let's call it what it is right now. Okay, if they play like this against Dallas, they might lose 10-0. They might get smoked. Thanks all of you guys who watched, subscribed. I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday for another game preview and another Leafs Nation After Dark. Until then, this has been game number 44 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, moving to 27, 15, and 2 on the season. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.